The afternoon sunlight of Beverly Hills streamed through the pristine glass windows of the luxurious boutique on Rodeo Drive, casting sparkling beams across the display shelves. The opulent space was adorned with expensive handbags, dazzling diamonds under spotlights, and outfits priced as much as a month's salary for many. This was no mere store, it was a world of its own, where the line between luxury and art blurred seamlessly. Helena, the store manager, stood still near the cashier counter, as poised as a perfectly sculpted statue. Her meticulously styled bob haircut, tailored suit, and sleek black heels radiated professionalism in every detail. With 15 years of experience in the high-end fashion industry, she had built her career on one unwavering principle: protect the brand at all costs. Exclusivity isn't just about the numbers on the price tag, she often reminded her staff, but also about how we curate our clientele. Under Helena's leadership, everything had to be flawless. Not a single smudge on the display glass, not a wrinkle on the couture dresses, and certainly no room for customers who didn't fit the store's image. Soft classical music floated through the air, mingling with the faint scent of expensive perfume. It was just another ordinary day in this haven of luxury, until the glass doors opened and a very special guest stepped inside. The woman entered quietly but left a striking impression. Her tall, graceful figure was clad in a simple cream coat, her face partially obscured by oversized sunglasses, and her honey blonde hair styled effortlessly. Every step she took on the marble floor was like a soft melody, and each movement exuded a natural elegance that couldn't be taught. Helena observed the new guest with the sharp gaze of a gatekeeper. Something felt off. The woman's outfit, while of high quality, was too understated for a store like this. No flashy logos, no extravagant accessories, and none of the ostentatious flair typically seen in their regular clientele. The woman moved leisurely through the displays, occasionally pausing to admire a silk scarf or a piece of jewelry. Her slender fingers glided over the surface of an exotic leather bag, as if evaluating its craftsmanship. Behind her sunglasses, her eyes seemed to take in every detail of the surroundings. Helena felt uneasy. Years in the industry had taught her that truly wealthy clients rarely spent much time browsing. They knew exactly what they wanted. This woman appeared to be merely killing time. With determined steps, Helena approached the guest. Her professional smile couldn't entirely conceal the sharp edge in her voice. "Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm afraid we have a private appointment scheduled shortly. I'll have to ask you to return at another time." The woman slowly lowered her sunglasses, revealing piercing blue eyes that made Helena momentarily pause. There was something familiar about those eyes, as if she had seen them before, perhaps on the cover of a magazine or in a news report. "I just want to take a quick look," the woman replied in a warm, low voice tinged with an Eastern European accent. "I assure you, I won't interfere with your appointment." But Helena had already made up her mind. In her world, there was no room for exceptions. "I'm very sorry," she said more firmly, "but this is a private establishment. If you'd like to visit, please make an appointment in advance." A strange silence followed. The woman didn't seem angry or flustered. Instead, a faint smile crossed her lips. A smile of someone far too accustomed to power to be rattled by minor slights. She put her sunglasses back on, turned, and walked out of the store, leaving behind a Helena who felt both triumphant and inexplicably unsettled. The sound of the woman's heels echoed on the marble floor, each step like a countdown to what was about to unfold. Little did Helena know, her decision to dismiss this guest had just set into motion a chain of events that would forever change her life. When the glass door closed, the boutique returned to its usual calm. Yet something had shifted. Sophia, a young staff member, stood near the jewelry counter with a worried expression, while Clara, the store's most seasoned salesperson, quietly shook her head. They had witnessed many similar situations, but this one felt different. Helena tried to brush off her unease. She had done her duty, protecting the brand and maintaining the boutique's exclusivity. But why did the woman's gaze linger in her mind? Why did her enigmatic smile make Helena feel as though she had made a grave mistake? The afternoon passed in the usual flurry of activity. Helena inspected a new shipment from Chanel, reorganized the jewelry displays, and coached her staff on presenting an upcoming limited collection. Yet her thoughts kept circling back to the earlier incident. As the sun set over Rodeo Drive, the staff began their evening closing routine. Helena stood before a large mirror, adjusting her slightly disheveled hair after a long day. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. A message from a friend who worked at another boutique on the same street popped up. "Have you seen the news? Melania Trump was on Rodeo Drive this afternoon." Helena sat alone in the small office at the back of the store, the warm glow of an antique desk lamp casting shadows over the worry lines on her forehead. It was almost midnight, but she couldn't bring herself to leave, not when everything seemed to be spiraling out of control. "Melania Trump," she murmured, her fingers lightly tapping the oak desk. How could I not recognize her? Her laptop screen glowed with dozens of open news tabs. Each headline was like a small cut to her pride. Former First Lady denied entry at luxury store. Shocking discrimination in Beverly Hills. Fashion scandal when true class is insulted. A soft knock broke the tense silence. Clara, the most experienced salesperson, peeked through the door. "You're still here, Helena?" she asked gently. Helena looked up, trying to maintain a composed expression. "There are a few things I need to take care of." Clara stepped in and placed a cup of hot tea on the desk. The faint aroma of lavender filled the small room. "I thought you might need this." "Thank you." Helena reached for the tea, the warmth of the porcelain seeping into her cold fingers. "What do you think about today?" Clara paused, carefully choosing her words. "I think we all have moments of bad luck, but what matters is how we handle them." "Bad luck?" Helena scoffed. "It's a PR disaster. Do you know how many complaint emails we've received? How many calls from management? And the brands? They're reconsidering their contracts with us." Clara pulled a chair closer and sat across from Helena. "Do you remember my first day working here?" Helena frowned, unsure where Clara was going with this. "That day," Clara continued, "I wore a suit from a discount store. I tried to make it look more expensive, but you saw through it immediately. I thought you'd reject me because of it. But I didn't." "Exactly. Instead, you told me it's not what we wear that defines who we are, but how we treat others." Clara smiled gently. "Where is that Helena now?" Helena closed her eyes as memories from the past came rushing back like a tidal wave. She thought of her mother, a seamstress in suburban Chicago. She remembered the long nights her mother spent bent over an old sewing machine, piecing together dreams for her daughter from scraps of fabric. "You'll never have to live like I do," Helena had once vowed. And now, sitting in the luxurious office of one of Beverly Hills' most prestigious boutiques, had she truly succeeded? Or had she lost something more important in her pursuit of status? "Clara," Helena suddenly spoke, "do you think I've changed?" Clara responded softly. "We all change, Helena. The question is, are we changing into the person we want to be?" "I remember my first day here," Helena whispered, her gaze distant. "I was overwhelmed by all of this perfection. The expensive clothes, the dazzling jewelry, the elite clientele. I wanted so badly to be part of that world." "And you did it," Clara replied. "You've become one of the most respected managers on Rodeo Drive." "But at what cost?" Helena abruptly stood and walked to the window. Outside, the lights of Beverly Hills shimmered like fallen stars. "I've become cold, Clara. I judge people by what they wear, what they own. I've forgotten what it feels like to be an ordinary person." Helena's phone buzzed incessantly. Sophia, the communications staff member, had sent her a flood of social media updates. At Luxury Insider, exclusive. Boutique manager accused of extreme unprofessionalism. Melania Gate. I'm fashion critic. Not the first time this store has caused controversy. Many customers share similar experiences. Boycott Rodeo. Tree Style Watch. A lesson in judging a book by its cover and the price you pay. Luxury fail. Clara glanced at Helena's phone. "This will pass," she said softly. "You don't understand." Helena shook her head. "This isn't just a PR scandal. It's a mirror, and I don't like what I see in it." After Clara left, Helena remained in the office. She opened a security camera video file and rewatched the entire incident. Melania entered the store, her graceful figure clad in simple, understated attire. No flashy logos, no extravagant accessories. The very things Helena had been conditioned to use as metrics for judgment. I just want to take a quick look. Melania's voice echoed from the recording, tinged with a familiar Eastern European accent. Helena suddenly thought of her mother, whose voice carried a similar foreign cadence. She wondered if her mother had walked into this boutique. Would she have treated her the same way she had treated Melania? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. The next morning, as the staff trickled into the boutique, they noticed a different Helena. Gone was the stern, unyielding manager. In her place was a woman with reflective eyes and a weary smile. "We need to talk," she said, gathering everyone together. "Not as your manager, but as someone who still has a lot to learn." Sophia stepped forward hesitantly. "There's something I've been meaning to share with you for a while." She pulled a photograph from her bag. In the picture was a young girl in a school uniform standing outside a luxury boutique, her eyes filled with longing. "That's me 10 years ago," Sophia said, her voice trembling. "I dreamed of working in a place like this. Not for the expensive things, but because I believe fashion could make people happy. But sometimes we forget that." Helena held the photo, her fingers gently tracing Sophia's innocent face from the past. "I used to feel the same," she whispered. "I once believed that beauty lies in how we make others feel about themselves." "So what do we do now?" Clara asked, breaking the contemplative silence. Helena stood tall, for the first time in years truly facing herself. "We change. Not for Melania Trump, not for the media, but for ourselves, for the dreams we once had about fashion and beauty." "But the brands," Sophia said hesitantly, "they will respect us more when we respect ourselves and our customers." Helena replied with newfound resolve. "We won't abandon luxury, it's our legacy, but we will redefine it. True luxury lies in how we treat others, not in what they wear when they walk through our doors." The morning sunlight streamed through the boutique's windows, like a promise of a new beginning. Helena looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each of her staff. In their gaze, she saw support, trust, and most importantly, hope. "And perhaps," she added with a soft smile, "we should thank Melania Trump. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the hardest moments." It was a beautiful Friday afternoon when the boutique's glass doors opened. A moment Helena would never forget for the rest of her life. Melania Trump entered, this time in an elegant black dress, accented with dazzling diamonds. Gone was the understated simplicity of her previous visit. She now exuded the aura of a truly powerful woman. Behind her followed an entourage, black-suited bodyguards, an assistant carrying a luxurious leather briefcase, and what appeared to be a public relations expert. The flash of cameras outside illuminated the store, transforming it into a stage. All eyes turned to Helena, who stood frozen behind the cashier counter, feeling as though the spotlight had been aimed squarely at her. "Good afternoon," Melania began, her voice warm yet commanding. "I hope this time I can have a look around your store." The simplicity of her question, sharp as a blade, froze the atmosphere in the boutique. Helena's face flushed, her throat dry. All she could do was nod, a weak and flustered gesture. Melania moved through the boutique with absolute grace and confidence. She stopped in front of a jewelry display case, where a diamond necklace sparkled under the spotlight. "I'd like to see this piece," she said to Clara, the young salesperson standing nearby. Clara quickly unlocked the case, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the necklace on a black velvet tray. Melania picked up the necklace, letting the diamonds shimmer under the light. Then she turned to Helena. "What do you think of this piece?" Helena tried to steady herself. "It's one of our most exquisite designs." "Indeed," Melania nodded. "Sometimes the most beautiful things don't flaunt their brilliance. Much like people. Wouldn't you agree?" Melania purchased the diamond necklace, a high-value transaction, but far from the most significant event of the day. She handed Helena an envelope. "This is a reward for your team, for their professionalism." Later, when Helena opened the envelope, she found a check with an astonishing amount, enough for each staff member to receive a generous bonus. Before leaving, Melania paused briefly. "You know," she said, "in life we often judge people by appearances, but what truly matters isn't what we see, it's how we treat one another. I hope today has been a lesson for all of us." 2 weeks after Melania Trump's return, Helena stood before the large mirror in her office. She still maintained her professional appearance, meticulously tailored suit, neatly trimmed bob. Yet there was something different in her eyes, a warmth, a depth that reflected the hard-earned lessons of recent events. "Miss Helena," Sophia said, knocking on the door, "our special guest has arrived." Helena smiled and stepped out of her office. In the main showroom, an older woman in simple clothing was admiring a silk scarf. She wore no expensive jewelry, carried no luxury handbag, just a regular woman with discerning eyes and a warm smile. "Hello, I'm Helena," she greeted sincerely as she approached. "It's a pleasure to assist you." The woman turned, her expression surprised. "Oh, I'm just browsing. I think the items here might be a bit beyond my budget." "Madam," Helena responded gently, "here we don't just sell luxury items. We share stories, dreams, and sometimes valuable life lessons." Clara, standing nearby, couldn't help but smile. She recalled the day Helena shared her vision for the store's new direction with the entire team. "We will no longer just be a luxury boutique," Helena had said. "We will be a place where everyone feels respected, heard, and inspired." And they had followed through. The store maintained its high standards of quality and style, but added free fashion consultations for young enthusiasts passionate about the industry. They hosted workshops on the history of fashion and smart styling on a budget. They even created a small corner showcasing designs from local up-and-coming designers. Melania Trump never returned to the boutique, but her legacy endured. It wasn't in the generous check she left behind or the media scandal, but in the lesson of humility and respect that she imparted. One evening, as the Beverly Hills sky was painted red by the setting sun, Helena sat down to write in her journal. "Sometimes our greatest mistakes bring the most valuable lessons. I thought I was protecting the brand, but in truth, I was losing myself." True luxury isn't about expensive items or famous names. It's about how we perceive and treat others. Melania Trump gave me more than a lesson in business. She gave me a lesson in humanity, and perhaps that is the most priceless gift anyone can receive. The boutique on Rodeo Drive remains bustling with customers, and the luxury items still glisten under the spotlight. But something has changed. Among the elegance and grandeur, there's now a warmth of humanity, sincerity, and respect in the air. Whenever someone asks about Melania Trump's story, Helena simply smiles and says, "It's the most expensive lesson I've ever learned, but also the greatest gift of my career." A year after the incident, Vogue published a feature article about the transformation in the luxury industry titled, "When True Class Comes from Respect." They highlighted Helena's story and the boutique on Rodeo Drive as an exemplary case of positive change. For Helena, however, the greatest success wasn't being featured in a renowned magazine. It was the genuine smiles of her customers, the proud eyes of her staff, and the sense of peace she felt when looking in the mirror, knowing she had become the best version of herself. Every morning before opening the store, Helena took a moment in front of the large mirror in her office to remind herself, "Remember, every person who walks through this door brings a story, and we have the privilege of being a positive part of their story." Perhaps it was the most expensive lesson she had ever learned, but it was certainly the most worthwhile. The story of Helena and Melania isn't just about fashion or social status. It's a tale of life's deeper values, the ones we sometimes lose sight of in the rush of modern living. Have you ever experienced a moment like Helena's? Times when you realize you judged someone too quickly or when a mistake taught you a valuable lesson? Share your story in the comments below. Every experience is a precious lesson, and by sharing, we can learn and grow together. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this post to support us. Share this story with someone who needs to read it. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss more meaningful stories. Turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest content. Each week, we bring you authentic and profound stories about life, lessons learned, and moments that change lives. Join us on this journey to rediscover the true values of life. What do you think about Helena's actions? About Melania's response? Leave your comments and let's discuss the valuable lessons from this story.